EastEnders Spoilers family member thrown out for good as Honey is attacked and Martin is enraged. Families are being driven to the brink in EastEnders next week as George Knight takes action to evict Gloria from his life. While the return of Martin Fowler could upset the marriage of Denise Fox and Jack Branning when he discovers the latter's affair with Stacey Slater. Making his comeback, he walks in on them kissing, and as Jack still reels from Denise's ultimatum on their marriage, and they take a tentative step towards progress, it could all be undone. Will Martin spill the beans? Elsewhere, Linda Carter is left shaken by another horrifying encounter with Dean Wicks. Inexplicably, the fundraiser is being held in the Vic, on the understanding that Dean won't attend. Of course, he does anyway, and a frantic Linda is forced to flee. And this is the only vile move from Dean next week, either Monday, March 18. Jack is walking on eggshells around Denise after her ultimatum, but when he confides in Stacey, she advises him to do whatever Denise asks. Later, Stacey goes to see Denise and persuades her to get her marriage back on track. The two women arrange a family BBQ to bring both sides of baby Charles' family together. At the BBQ, things are awkward and Stacey talks with a fragile Denise, feeling terrible. Out in the backyard, Stacey tells Jack that she wishes she could be selfish, but he needs to be there for Denise. He holds his arms out for a hug, and they share a tender goodbye kiss, but Martin walks in and catches them. Elaine and the Knight girls are making a big fuss of George on the morning of his birthday when Gloria arrives. Although she gets a frosty reception, George agrees to talk to his mom. But when Gloria insists that George had a happy childhood, he's infuriated and loses his temper. Elaine escorts shaken Gloria out, and horrified by his outburst, George rushes off. Later, he returns and confides his fears to Elaine before breaking down in her arms. Jean wants the Vic as the venue for Jade's fundraiser, and Linda surprisingly agrees on the proviso that Dean isn't allowed to attend. Back at Dean's place, Jean is terrified when Jade has a bad coughing fit and calls the doctor, much to his horror. Things get worse when Jade takes a look at his phone. Elsewhere, Avani pressures Will into vaping. Tuesday, March 19. Jack and Stacey insist to Martin that the kiss was a moment of madness and beg him not to tell Denise. Chelsea interrupts and is suspicious when Stacey rushes after Martin. When alone, Stacey admits to the affair with Jack and tells Martin it's over and the whole thing is none of his business. Later, Martin confides about what's happened to Kathy, who desperately tries to persuade him to keep the secret, fearing the consequences of Denise finding out for the rest of the 6 women. Back at the Brannings, Jack breaks down to Denise about how scared he's been about her, leading to a breakthrough for them as a couple as they pledge to fix things. Dean has a lot of explaining to do as Jade and Jean confront him about dodging Shabnam's calls and texts. He manages to persuade them that he's been putting his head in the sand, and avoiding Shabnam, and Jade wonders why. Her mom knows she's still too ill to go to Pakistan. Later, Jade asks Dean if she can go to the fundraiser at the Vic, but he insists that he'll only let her if she's well enough. Jade is unaware that Dean is continuing to mess with her antibiotics to keep her close. Wednesday, March 20. Johnny taunts Dean about being banned from Jade's fundraiser, making him determined to find a way to get there. After manipulating Jean and Harvey, Dean arrives at the Vic, and Jade begs Elaine just to let him see her speech. As they wait for her big moment, Dean begs Jade to stay with him in London, but she insists she needs to go to Pakistan and be with her mom. Linda is furious to see Dean in her bar and rushes upstairs, with Jean right behind her. Emotional Linda makes Jean see that Dean is playing her, so Jean returns downstairs to order him to leave. Honey is horrified to catch Will vaping and demands to know who sold him the vape. After finding out it was Avani, Honey charges into the Vic to have it out with Priya, who is unrepentant. Ravi arrives and profusely apologizes, but Priya makes the situation 10 times worse. Meanwhile, Penny tries to persuade Lauren to have a 30th birthday celebration. But she's not keen, especially when Peter tells her he's got a date that night, so can't make it. Thursday, March 21. Ravi confronts Avani about selling vapes, but she won't back down, especially when he criticizes Priya's parenting skills. After a row with Ravi over how she raised Avani, Priya flirts with Martin and invites him to buy her a drink at Peggy's that night. Ravi comes to find her and apologizes, and Priya tells him she'll deal with Avani. That night, Ravi finds Priya at Peggy's, and they share a warm moment as they discuss their daughter. But when he asks if he can join Priya for a drink, she knocks him back in favor of Martin, who has just arrived. Lauren is downbeat about her upcoming birthday, but Penny is determined to cheer her up. She sets Lauren up with a profile on a dating site, so she can make Peter jealous. Thanks for watching these videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.